the reasons that drove me to it was to create a safe space for me mentally, have like a home that I can come back and just do my work. If I want to have friends over, have friends over. If I don't, I don't, and I can like sit in complete silence. And I think that actually has probably helped me a lot in my career, just having my own space since I was 28, 29.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Real Talk Real Estate, where we bring you real estate stories from the streets of Singapore. And today we have IT sales champion, Nicholas. Hey. So Nicholas, you want our audience to call you Nick or Nicholas?
Yeah, Nick is fine.
Nick is fine, huh? Okay. All right, could you share a little bit more about what do you do as a sales person in the tech industry?
Yeah. So thanks, Aaron. I wouldn't really call myself a sales champion. I think I've just been doing sales from a very young age. But yeah, I generally cover software and services sales in various tech companies. And right now I'm actually working for Stripe, which is a payments company.
I see. So I heard that you got a very interesting hobbies. Like you like to collect watch. What do tech people do? Because it always sounds very funky.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's a common stereotype that salespeople like Rolex watches and cars and fancy things. No, I think for me, like watches has been sort of an interest for me like since 8 to 9 years back. And like before I bought my first place, my first property, watches was just a very good way to sort of like spend money. But I was doing a lot of trading, so I could also get 90% of that capital back when I needed to use that money. And of course, a watch is something you can wear and enjoy. So I was doing a lot of trading. And then right before I bought my first place, I actually sold all my watches and I got all my money back. And then I put it into a house. So I think watches serve that purpose. And then right now it's just more of a hobby.
And you exit at the right time, right? Because now the watch industry is not, if you're doing it as an investment, it's not very good.
Yeah, I think there's probably like a general... I'm not a finance guy or like a macro environment guy, but I think generally the market looks to be moving towards like a downtrend, maybe recession. But hopefully things will pick up next year.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we really want to find out a little bit more about, the IT industry as a salesperson. But before that, what do you really like living in Singapore? Because I heard from you that, you are also exploring like other areas, other countries, you're not just, because for, I think a tech personnel like you have a very global mindset. Mm-hmm. So you're not like, fixated at a location all the time. Mm-hmm. So what would you really like about living in Singapore right now?
Right. I think firstly, the government over the last 30, 40 years, and you're talking about agencies like Economic Development Board, EDB, like they've managed to bring in all these big tech brands, all these global giants, right? And what that has allowed, I think, the people who are staying here, not just Singaporeans, but also expats that come over, is that you can now work for companies like Shopify, Netflix, TikTok, Stripe, Google, Apple, Amazon, like, even Dyson. Yeah. Dyson is here as well, and Boston Dynamics, which is like a upcoming kind of like physical tech company. Like I think that's the part that is quite good, because if you are able to get into those firms, then you, like you said, you do get that global exposure. So I think that's one thing I like about Singapore. Second is the weather. I think it's consistently warm. Sometimes it's too hot, but I think I prefer that to consistently cold and too cold.
Yeah.
But I think it would be nice to have 4 seasons. So, maybe if we get the chance, me and my wife, maybe we try to work somewhere else in the future. But generally, I think Singapore has good job opportunities. And yeah, you can build up your, financial nest here and then slowly expand outwards, try out different things.
I see.
Yeah.
So, okay, what is going on behind a tech sales, your day-to-day? How does it look like? And I heard there's a lot of perks. Like if you work in Google and then you got like free lunch or something like that. Could you like at least, share a little bit more insights with our audience?
Yeah, I can't speak on behalf of tech firms, but I think that generally, multinational companies have like a wider range of benefits, even when it comes to insurance and all that, because they are looking after, not just locals, but international folks who bring their family over, right? So I think the insurance coverage is definitely going to be wider. When it comes to perks, I think people need to understand that that's a cosmetic layer, right? End of the day, whether or not you have free breakfast or free lunch may not really have a direct impact on your performance at work or how happy you are about your job scope, how happy you are with your peers, your management. Like, I think these are all, again, cosmetic layers. And the truth is that these can be given or taken away at any time. So I would say that personally, my personal view is that it's not important. Like, I rather you remove all these benefits, but like, enable me to do my job better. So I think it's a bit of like you need to, if people want to try it, like, I want to see what it's like to have free lunch, right? Why not? But I think if I'm not wrong, like Marina Bay Sands, like they provide free food also, right? And then I have friends working in like Secret Lab. I also hear that like there's lunch, So I think providing meals is quite a common thing. It's not just limited to big tech firms. Yeah.
Okay. Very political, the way that you brought across your answer.
It's a public broadcast. So.
All right. So could you share a little bit more? Because initially when you started your tech, job scope, and then you actually bought a bachelor pad. So how do you come about, thinking about buying a property, to stay and all that?
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I think that's what the podcast is about. So I think from young, I had a very keen interest in property, and I was probably a lot more capitalistic in nature back then. Like, I read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, like from a very young age, like maybe primary 5, primary 6, or sec 1, sec 2. And I was like, oh, okay, like this whole idea of having an asset and then letting the asset, earn income from you. I think that's where it started. But the reason why I got my first place, which is like a 500 square foot place, is because number one, I, as a single, at around 28, 29, I couldn't get a flat. And I also wanted to give myself some personal space, right? So I think a lot of us in Singapore, we generally are stuck with parents until you get married or you hit 35 and then you can get a flat. So for me, when I figured out that, okay, maybe I might be able to scrape enough, right? Sell all my watches, sell all my stocks or whatever, and then be like, okay, I can afford like this first house. I think the reasons that drove me to it was to create a safe space for me mentally, have like a home that like I can come back and just do my work. If I want to have friends over, have friends over. If I don't, I don't, and I can like sit in complete silence. And I think that actually has probably helped me a lot in my career, just having my own space for like, since I was 28, 29. Yeah.
So what was your lifestyle back then? Like during the weekends, off work, you'll be with your longboard or something like that, is it?
Yeah, I think it was quite active lifestyle. Living alone for a couple of years was just COVID. COVID was a big part of, I think, just like maybe less than a year after moving, COVID hit, right? So I would work from home, obviously, COVID. Then I go for a run, right? So when the sun is still up, I stop work around 6:30. I go for a run. By the time I come back, sunset. Then I make dinner, I watch some shows, play some games. And then we can meet friends. That's it. Very simple.
I see.
Lifestyle.
And I remember that the layout that you actually chose for your bachelor pad is not that small actually, 500 plus square feet, but it's very, very efficient. There's like a proper, it's a single straight line kitchen, living room, and then the balcony, on the left, you can see a bit of the reservoir. And then the rooms is also sizable. And then you have a study room, which you can act as a, study space, a work desk space, or, just putting items.
Yeah. So Aaron, you sold it for me. So you know, I think you can flash pictures of it on this video, but it's a good question, because as I was searching for the right home, I think we always start out with a fixed set of definitions. Like, okay, I want close to MRT, I want freehold, I want a certain layout, I want a certain size. And then you realize that if you want all these attributes, then the price might be a lot higher, or you might get one and not the other, right? So I think I saw some freehold apartments at Kembangan, but those were like short stack, no facilities kind of apartment, right? I think the gym can fit one treadmill and an exercise ball. So swimming pool, we called it the koi pond swimming pool. I used to put koi fish instead of for swimming, right? But it was freehold and it was near MRT. But the layout wasn't so efficient, right? You had bomb shelter inside everything. So I think when I saw this condo at Tampines,
Yeah.
which is Q-Bay, number one, it was a pretty big condo, right? Like 3 pools, 3 tennis court, which is pretty crazy. One half basketball court, 1 chalet. And the layout of the house was nice because there was no bomb shelter. It's completely square, open kitchen. Living room was very wide, meaning that it didn't feel small at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then a balcony that wasn't oversized and overlooked like a water body,
Okay.
right? And then it will be a nice sunset and everything. So I think that I still miss that place. It's quite peaceful. Every day you can go out and watch the sunset over the water. I mean, you wouldn't think Tampines, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most central area, but that's why I sort of decided to go for that place. Yeah, at that time.
All right. So before we move on to the next one, we just want our audience to get to know you a little bit better with some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Are you ready? Okay. So, would you choose city lights or beach sunset?
I think that depends on the stage of life I'm in.
Okay.
I mean because
how you
it's
make me
rapid
sound
fire,
like
is
very
it?
old.
Okay, so right now city lights because it's closer to work. You can commute there and back faster.
Probably like retirement and beach sunset would be better.
Yeah, depending on the job also, right? Yeah. but-
Okay.
yeah.
So, first thought when you step into a new property, is it the decor potential or the tech setup?
Neither actually. When I walk into a place, I just go by how I feel. Needs to feel good. Yeah, need to feel good about the space. And
Okay.
second thing I looked out for is like potential.
Ah.
So layout. I mean condition is one part, but depending on the price also, you might have room to reno.
So I noticed a lot of buyers actually, also mention the same thing. I walk into a house, I must feel good. How does that look like for you?
Hard to define. I think number one, the owners, if they are not welcoming, then maybe they shouldn't be there. But if they're very nice people, then I mean it helps with the environment, right? I think when Aaron, you helped me sell my condo, I think I was there being like a secondary salesperson and showing them my house. And
It was an asset to have you around.
I was like, oh, this is look at this table can fold out, very nice. This couch, this is why I did this. So I think setting that experience, definitely the owner plays a part. If not, the agent plays a part. I'm sure you do staging as well. So the other thing is more like natural light and clutter. I think clutter is just something that people may not feel too good. I think we ever viewed a house together where obviously we're not going to name it, but we walked in and there was like scribbles over the whole house.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of dirty, not very clean, very cluttered. And even though the place had some potential, you will still feel a bit like hesitant because you're like, wow, I need to clean this up. As opposed to a house that's already clean, right? Even if it's simple, there's nothing, but it's clean, I think people can still like visualize it a bit better.
Hey, can I share one of the most funny stories that we encountered? Was that we actually bumped into one of the seller agent who happened to be a bully last time.
Oh, no. Cannot.
We cut that one out. Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. The next one. Would you choose one big bachelor pad or, would you choose one big bachelor pad? Would you miss it or you just find it is a good riddance?
So you mean like, did I miss my first house?
Yeah. Do you miss your first house?
I think I miss it in a nostalgic way where there are fond memories there, but would I go back to that space? I don't think so. It's too small. Yeah.
Favorite neighborhood in Singapore?
Favorite neighborhood? I lived with my in-laws for a bit at Spottiswoode Park. So surprisingly, not everyone knows where Spottiswoode Park is, but it's next to Cantonment Close, which is another estate that is behind like Everton. Everything people know Everton Park lah.
Yeah.
I would say that area is quite nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a very old HUDC flats over there.
Correct. And it's central enough for you to walk to your workplace or cycle.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of quite segregated from the hustle and bustle of the city. So quite nice.
Okay. This is the chance for you to score some brownie points with your wife. Home cooked dinner with your spouse or trying a new tech gadget.
Oh, for sure, home cooked dinner. I cook a lot. So we eat together.
All right. Okay. So we just move on to the next segment of our podcast. So basically, right, how did getting married influence your decision to make the move for your next property?
Yeah, I think the most important change was that you now have to think about another person's needs, spatial needs, design considerations, preferences, and then also the thing that maybe people need to consider is the lifestyle you want. So are you more of a, you both just game together in a room? Are you more like you host friends and family a lot? Or are you, we want to do none of the above? We just want a space that is exclusively for the both of us. Do you want kids? Do you not want kids? Do you want to, like, do you have a guest room? If people want to stay over, like your family flying in from other countries, and all this sort of stuff, right? And then also like built-in versus non-built-in, how much rental budget you have, all the finance stuff, the good stuff, but also like both your workplaces. Do you already own a car? Do you not own a car? Do you think a car is worth owning? We don't currently own a car, and I don't think we'll own a car anytime soon. So definitely the house considerations will also be impacted by the changing landscape of how much things cost. And inflation is just such a crazy thing, right? High interest, high car price. So like maybe now going out for karaoke will cost you 3 times as much as it did back then. So does this mean that your house now needs to have a karaoke setup? Does it mean a karaoke room? Right? So there are certain things that your house can help to offset certain lifestyle decisions or lifestyle needs. And I think that's where it becomes a very complicated subject. And you need a good agent like Aaron
Thank you.
help you work through what you need and manage all these things for you, and sort of like guide the buyer to the right decision. Because it may not be exactly what you envision from the start. Yeah.
Okay. So what influenced you to choose Bartley area? Can I even say Bartley?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. It's just Bartley, it's fine. I think we wanted something more central than Tampines. We were thinking that, if we can be next to an MRT, like that would be great. So I think that was the top consideration because we don't drive. And then we kind of went to see a lot of estates in like Kovan because we wanted freehold, but we wanted freehold with a budget. So what we got was very weird looking houses. Excuse me. And then after that, we went to see Potong Pasir, which is a very nice, mature estate. However, the condos there were quite expensive. And you didn't really have good choices at affordable prices. And then we decided, okay, why not we check out like the Bali area? There are a couple of condos that are near-ish to the MRT and it's under construction. So like I think maybe the price is still quite reasonable because it's not fully developed, right? You have the Bidadari site that's up.
Yeah.
And then you have Woodleigh Mall just launched. And then you also have a park, a very big park that's being built in the middle between Bartley and Bidadari. And you have new roads being built in between. You also have HDB estate being built behind Bartley MRT. So that will have supermarket, coffee shop. And I think once all those things are done, that area and the estate, which is also near a lot of schools, primary, secondary schools, Mary Stella and all, schools are a big thing. So I think what we saw is that, okay, this unit is potentially still undervalued, given that there's still development to be done, and perhaps we can invest. It's a good investment.
I see. But what are the challenges and perks of staying in this new area?
I would say the challenge is that it's quite, the neighborhood surrounding Bartley might still be a bit messy, right? Where like Tai Seng is an industrial estate, you go further down MacPherson, so industrial estate. So you don't get like the serenity of like some Tampines areas or like Punggol.
Yeah.
Or even Spottiswoode is quite nestled within like a forested area. So I think that's the part that maybe I miss the most. But that will soon change once the park opens.
Yeah.
They have a very big park with a water body and trees and all that to visit, right? But other than that, not much challenges because train stations nearby, 1 stop to Serangoon, 3 stops to Paya Lebar. I think also 3 or 4 stops to Bishan, connected to 2 or 3 different MRT lines. If you are interested in Bali, you should move fast.
All the residents should give you some ang pao or something.
Yeah. And get Aaron to represent you.
Great. So, how is the work from home situation like? Is there enough space right now, or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, plenty of space. I mean, whether it's living room or we have a study room and we have a common room also. So it's like more than enough space. I don't think work from home is a challenge for us.
Okay.
But I would say that work from home trend is tapering down, right?
Okay.
You'll see companies wanting employees to come back a lot more than before, or at least 50%. I think that's the trend. It's never, unless it's a very specific job scope, you're gonna have to go in at least 50% of the time, if not more, right? So that is what I kind of can see. So I think work from home is important, but maybe not as important as during the COVID times, right? So if you ask me, like maybe in 2-3 years time, maybe a smaller house near your office is also okay, because you both you or your partner or just yourself may not need to work from home as much.
Okay. So for both of the properties that you bought, right, the bachelor pad made about 6 figures. And then now this current property based on paper gain value is also about 6 figures.
Oh,
so
is it?
it's about
Okay,
that.
thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean,
Now I know.
I've been monitoring.
Now I know.
So, but what are the top things you can share with the audience, right? When picking both of these properties that actually did very well financially.
Well, the top advice is get a good agent, and I think you need to have someone who understands your needs and also understands the market situation and is able to do things to bring you through, to clean up your own thought process, right? So it's like you start out the process very sure, and you want this person to sort of help you either be more sure about what you want or more sure that something else is actually a better fit, right? And understand very clearly what the trade-offs are, because there is no kind of one answer to your question, right? Like, how do you pick the right property? I think it really depends on your circumstances, right? Like, we couldn't get a resale flat even though we got married in the last year because there were some cooling measures and we didn't really want to wait it out, right, to buy a resale flat. But if we could have gotten a resale flat, I think we've gone for, Everton Park, Spottiswoode, Cantonment. I mean, to us, the location premium is there. It's also near my wife's parents, my in-laws. So, but because we couldn't do that, we're like, okay, then we need to find the next best option within our circumstances. So, you need to know, in summary, you need to know what you want.
Okay.
Right? And you need an experienced agent to show you what is possible and what's not, and what are the trade-offs.
All right. Do you have any advice for listeners right now who are getting married and then you have to upgrade from their current smaller bachelor pad or a single size home to a family size home? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I really, really think that the premium on housing is the size and the layout, right? So whether it's HDB or private, anything with 3 proper size rooms and a yard, and a proper size kitchen, that is the premium, right? I think all other considerations like, location, whether it's freehold or 99-year HDB lease, these are all factors that affect the price. But you can't change the fact that people need that space.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to start a family, especially if you want to have a multi-generational family nucleus in that house, right? You can't turn a 2-bedroom into a 3-bedroom. You can't turn a 1-bedroom into a 2-bedroom. So the point here is that you should also consider the spatial needs as opposed to just the investment side of things. Is probably my advice.
Right.
And the global economy and everything is changing, right? So you have to be wise with what you commit yourself to in this high interest market.
Yeah, I want to add on to this is that actually many of times, right, a lot of buyers are looking for, turn me to the best property, right? They will make me the most amount of money. But actually, if you look at the overall grand scheme of things, is that most of the private property prices on average, right, actually, went up across time lah. So if the common denominator or the safer way to, predict how the market will turn out is definitely going to be an uptrend. But the reason why people still lose money is because of the holding period. If they don't like the property enough, they're probably going to sell. Or if you are not financially able to, pay the mortgage, then there will be a problem as well.
Yeah, actually you brought a good point, Aaron. So I think when we bought our Bartley house, we decided that we needed to have 3 years of reserves for for the mortgage, like just so that we know we can survive this period, and after the 3-year minimum occupation period we can sell. That's one. Number two, even if we just break even on the interest that we pay on our mortgage, we are still quite happy with our decision, because the house every day gives us like a lot of joy. We have people over. It's a safe place for us to come back and spend time together with each other. I can cook, like the value is really on a very, very factual, very experiential day-to-day basis that sorry, the word I'm looking for is tangible. It's a very tangible value that we get on a day-to-day basis. So once we know that we can manage the risk to a good enough extent, of course you can't, I'm sure there are people with very different circumstances and challenges, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I say we all need to make decisions within our means. And sometimes circumstances may change the decisions you can make. But you're right in that the house should give you a lot of happiness and joy. You should be able to hold it at least until the point where you have flexibility to either sell, rent it out. And yeah, like making money is it makes sense. I think a house is a good asset. I definitely think a house in Singapore is a good asset. But it cannot be the only factor. Yeah.
I see.
That's what I think.
I think one last point to add for our listeners, right, is that how we actually considered Bartley. Obviously, Potong Pasir, Woodleigh will be something that is more accessible. You have your amenities already set up. But however, I always feel that because the prices have shot up so much over there, right,
Yeah.
and the income level has not risen to a certain point where people can afford those prices. I think they could, but then they'll be stretching their budget. So a buyer's, or rather the consumer's point of view is that if I can't afford this area and I still want somewhere here, where else will I look? Let's look down the MRT line, Bartley. So they take their so-called top dollars here at Woodleigh and Potong Pasir and they come down to Bartley with the profits we are looking for. So to me, it's like something, it's very logical to me. But however, I do understand that whatever that we went through earlier, both people in the relationship must really like the property. If not, you're gonna have problems down the road, right?
Yeah. I think one thing to add is that you cannot dismiss an alternative option. So after staying in Bartley for a while, we realized that actually it was a better choice than the Potong Pasir, because that particular MRT line, purple line, actually is less connected than Bartley. Like Bartley is connected to green line, connected to blue line, connected to red line, and we can also get one stop to purple line. So we're connected to 4 MRT lines within 3 to 4 stops, right? Serangoon is 1 stop, right? So it's almost like, actually Bartley is a lot more flexible in terms of transport options. And if you're talking about amenities nearby, you walk down, you take MRT, 1 stop, Serangoon is aircon all the way. So it's almost like an underground tunnel to get to a mall that like Next is like crazy in terms of food options, right? So we didn't think Bartley would be quote unquote better than some of all these nice places at Potong Pasir, but it turned out to be a very good decision. So I would say that, definitely keep your mind open, and sometimes you might find something good with some savings as well.
Awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for your time. But before we end off, we just want to find out more about you through a rapid fire questions. Okay, so we have some questions for you. Would you choose, what is the top tech tool that you can't live without during your house hunting?
My agent.
But I'm not a tool.
My Aaron is an extension of what I did.
All right.
Really. I just saw if you get an agent and your agent is not, I must give shout out to Aaron, right? I think when I asked him to sell my Tampines place, he gave me a comprehensive, like maybe 4 or 5 page report over WhatsApp, trends, transactions, both like quantitative but also qualitative analysis. And these are things that I don't have time to do. I'm very interested. I think I could probably do it if I had the time. But it's not my job. I have a day job. So I think there's all these tools, but you need to find someone that knows how to use these tools and knows how to give the information to you in a way that makes sense to you. Now, giving someone information that isn't tailored for them, that's just like asking them to do a Google search, right? But making the information relatable to certain insights that might be sort of shared during a more personal discussion, I think that's what's valuable.
I try my very best because obviously not every customer, like that kind of hard information delivered to them. But however, I try to speak at their language. And for you, I know that you like a lot of information, so I'll give that to you. So for your balcony view, right, would you prefer, I think you already answered this, but would you prefer a bustling city or a tranquil nature view?
Tranquil, 100%.
Perfect. Yeah. Essential features for your new home: smart home system or spacious home office?
Nah, I'm not into the smart home idea. I think it's cool, but I don't really need it. I'm happy to press a switch on the wall.
Okay. Yeah. What's your ideal neighbor? A tech geek like you or someone completely opposite?
Yeah, we actually have very ideal neighbors. They're actually also in tech.
Awesome.
Tech and finance. So around the same age. So quite nice. Yeah.
First thing you did to your new place?
First thing we did to our new place, you mean like post-reno or?
Like post-reno.
Okay. Well, we ordered like dry ban mian and we ate in the balcony when there was still like not a lot of furniture. So just 2 chairs and a crate.
Okay.
That was the first thing we did while unpacking all our, Taobao stuff and building and stuff.
Okay.
So that was the first experience for us.
So what's your dream travel location for a vacation?
Oh, well, as all Singaporeans, we like Japan, right? Japan, Korea, Australia. So I think nothing fancy, just a regular destination. Yeah, Bali. Nothing very exciting from my side.
I notice a lot of tech guys like you like to go Bali. So
because we are high stress environment, so we like to have a drink and relax. I don't speak for everybody, but for myself. Yeah.
All right, man. One word to describe Singapore real estate market.
Expensive is probably the one word that I will use to describe the Singapore property market. But I also don't think it's too different from the cities that are around the world. I actually think that in Singapore, the property price actually is, I would say, more or less stable, even though it's expensive. But yeah, I can see how housing can be unaffordable, both public and private, for us now, and I don't know how future generations will afford housing. So yeah, maybe me and Aaron, we start a co-living company.
you have to do it public over here. All right. Thank you so much, Nick, for your time. And for you listeners out there, if you want to find out a little bit more about the real estate, more real estate stories, you can just comment down below. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We'll see you for the next one.